here's something, if you can see it, is this was the Illinois Central, I'm not sure what you call it, but it shows the branch line coming and going out of Rantoul, going east and west. And Barry might have been on that line, but not in that year. I think that's 1939.
Yeah, that looks like a dispatcher sheet where they would have recorded the passing of the trains and what time they arrived at each. Simply similar to what we use in a operating station to keep track of trains.
Since I lived there 10 years, why that was a kind of an important find to me.
Mm-hmm.
And some of you may recognize this. This is the Northwestern coming through the Narrows, which is right west of Tayman. And Ernie Sebdi took that photo. That photo has been in a lot of books.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the old Tayman Toledo Railroad. At this time, they were probably the coal in the CNEI, and then I'm not sure what the tank car was for, but there's two gondolas. They probably went to the juvenile home because they heated the juvenile home with coal. And then there, of course, there is our Hiawatha.
Mm-hmm.
And an old picture of Tayman back in the days when all the railroads were there, except the Tayman Toledo Railroad is not on that. So anyway, this is about all the kits I got left. Not very many. I got a few things up on the wall. I'm not sure why I have that Santa Fe. Well, I know why I got it. I got it in a bunch of stuff and I just have never got rid of it. So, and then of course I already have the different glues and stuff that I don't know if anybody uses that Mod Podge or not.
I have some stashed away, packed in the box.
Use it all the time.
This is just some adhesive grout, and I found that stuff works pretty good for filling little indentations and stuff, and then just sand it off.
Mm-hmm.
Rather than the green putty. And of course, everybody has, you know, all the different bits and tools and squares and I'll try to do this better than the guys who have a movie camera and then you're looking at the ceiling and then the floor. You never have enough clamps, do you?
No, just gotta remember to hold it steady and go very slow so the focus can continue to, because you got the autofocus on and so it's constantly searching for a spot. That's good, really good.
Okay, in other words, I go a little fast then.
Sometimes camera
Okay.
doesn't keep up with you.
Yeah.
I have to show this to my wife. So she
I have
doesn't.
a few cookie sheets like that as well. They're great for parts and when you're working on a kit and put it aside, keep all the parts together. So
Yeah, when my wife gets rid of her cookie pans and stuff like that, I said, don't throw them out because that's where a project goes into.
yes.
That's a great idea. I never thought of that.
Yeah, and you can
Yeah.
put it up on the shelf, forget about it for months, and then discover, oh, hey, I've got.
This one's got locomotives in it. And I'll pop down here. There's some more locomotives down here. And all of the grassing stuff that I use. I'm not much on plaster of Paris, but I bought some and you got to have some once in a while. Everybody needs a block of wood to drill into.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I got more books and some of them are photographs. And then the library. Too many books, too many books. And then I'll back up here, the one round workbench. And on this side is all projects that aren't done. Now the workbench doesn't turn, but the centerpiece with all the tools and stuff on it, it does turn on a Lazy Susan. And then of course I've got a bunch of copper and all the different plastic pieces. That's the wood pieces that I don't need. Over here on the workbench, one of the workbenches, there's the Ohm meter. And back there is my, I have an amp meter and an old small DC transformer to test things out before I put, put any kind of decoder in it. I've been working on this crane. I'll turn these over. Maybe they'll be a little bit. That is a M&L crane that they had just one of them.
That's the combination pile driver crane.
It is, only I'm not going to make the pile driver. Yeah, that gets beyond what I want to do. It turns out the M&L or the AHM crane is really pretty doggone good for that. And the one M&L had was a 160-ton crane. So there's one. This is the, sit down here a second. You remember when they had these cast locomotives?
Ooh.
And the problem was they told you to put an Athearn chassis under them. The problem was the Athearn chassis was just a little bit too short. So I've rebuilt this one. The piece it's in the middle of it.
Sure. You put a
That
brass
added-
plate?
Yeah, a piece of brass there. I cut the chassis apart and did that. Can motor and all. I got a problem though. It's kind of noisy. That's my problem. And I don't have that fixed yet.
Is that from Kerry Locomotive Works?
That's a Kerry locomotive shell. I figure that's so heavy that it ought to be able to pull anything I got. That's provided the motor doesn't burn out. So I'm working on a truck here. One of the first things this is a Ulrich Truck, and the wheelbase across the wheels is 9 feet across, which should actually be 8 feet for the time period that truck was in. So I had to take and make a 8-foot wheelbase. Maybe it's pretty dark. I'll turn this and
Dryer's done. Gonna be a soggy Saturday. Dry Sunday.
turn the light on.
So how are you shortening the wheelbase?
All right, what I did was
Sure.
those are A-line wheels and new axles and the whole thing.
Ooh.
So here's the original wheelbase. You see quite a bit difference in the
Yes.
two of them. It's the only one I'll do that way, but I thought I would do one. You know, I've got a guy who takes and fills up my bottles with, help me out here. It's the newest thing that guys are using for plastic glue,
MEK?
MEK, thank you. I knew somebody would have the answer. And every time, I think it's as good as the stuff as I've ever had used.
Mhm.
Of course, you always need a little bit of rubbing alcohol and the thing that nobody likes to talk about, Goo Gone. I tell you, I don't like Goo Gone for anything except cleaning wheels, but I make sure that I don't, I dry the wheel off because I don't want that stuff on my rail.
Yeah.
It collects dirt quickly. And the usual amount of scissors and so forth like that. A hacksaw, a Dremel, and I always keep the one cutting blade in all the time. Paper towel,
Mhm.
whole bunch of clamps. I used to use this visor, but my eyes have got to the point I can't use it anymore. I have another Dremel over here that one I use only for the brush part. If I can get it in, if you can see it. I guess you can't.
Is that on that extension cable that Dremel sells?
There it is. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
on the extension cable. There you go.
Mhm.
I leave it that way all the time. That thing is really handy. And then there's the paint shelf. And then everybody has a whole boxes of stuff that they probably should throw away, but they just keep it. You know, all of those little pieces of plastic and wood that you'll probably never use. And the problem with a big workbench is that it pretty soon it becomes another storage unit. And then there's a variety of pliers. And of course, another variety of parts. And over there is a vise I used for a lot of things. And of course, pencils and so forth like that. And a box of sanding stuff, blades, old blades, new blades, razor blades.
Where do you keep the Band-Aids?
I pretty, you know, they're upstairs. I don't cut myself very often.
Well, and more important is, why do we all keep old blades?
I don't know.
You might need one
Something to do.
sometime.
Not that dull yet.
You can see the big variety of different glues. Some work, some don't work. Some I wished I hadn't bought, and some I like. You know, they're just all kinds of stuff. Here's the caterpillars that I'm waiting for the new floor for the flat car.
Oh, they look familiar.
The
Yes,
laser
they
cut-
ought to, Bob.
You're waiting on
And
the laser
my
cut-
box of drills.
Mhm.
You know, drills are interesting. Why is it that they don't have I'll call the collet, I guess you want to call it, that it fits the medium size small drill? I mean, it's either too big or too small, or I can't figure that out. You'd think that somebody would have that figured out. And you got to have one of these choppers,
Mhm.
some more file cabinets stuff. Everybody needs an airplane. So I'm painting on this Ulrich Kenworth truck, and let me tell you, that's about the 10th time I've painted it. I like the blue of the rattle can. I could not get that rattle can to give me a good paint job. I would get The one side would be good, the other side would be have bumps and or runs or whatever. So I finally took the rattle can and a clean jar, and I sprayed it into the blue into the jar, which, as you can see, I now have more blue on everything else than I do anything. It's all over. But finally I got a bottle of blue and I airbrushed it, and I'm getting close. You know, when you spray out with a rattle can, you always, once in a while, you'll get one of these, the little black tops here, if you can see it. Where am I at? No wonder you can't see it. So I just cleaned that thing out with my little pipe cleaner. And I tell you, I've never lost a can since I started that. Before that, I'd throw away about half a can every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
I just pull that out, stick the pipe cleaner in a little bit of paint thinner and poke it in and out 3 or 4 times, and it's taken care of. So, okay, this is, I can't get back far enough, I don't think, but this is the ferry or the ferry yard or whatever you want to call it. A lot of guys call it the ferry, so I guess that's what we'll call it. And then the backside of the workbench, and I will show you how this works.
Mm-hmm.
I made this workbench round because, you know, the corners take up a lot of space and they don't do much for you.
Now, is that a piece of glass on your workbench there?
Yeah, I bought that way back when I lived in Rantoul. A guy went out of the hobby business and he had that piece of, it's almost an inch thick. And as you can see, there's parts of it through the moving have got broke off the corners. So I tried to get somebody to cut it square for me. Could not find any glass people who were interested in cutting that. I suppose a specialist would, but not locally. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, I have a couple of pieces of plate glass on my workbench. It's just great for, you know, lay plans underneath, or you can cut masking tape and all kinds of good stuff. So
Yeah, you bet. Here's where I keep all of the way bills. Anybody need a map? I've been collecting those too long. More magazines. This is the upside down tough maker.
yes.
All right. Yeah, of course you should have a moisture and a way to contain your pressure on your compressor. So we'll do a little bit of layout looking here. This is the passenger end and where the ferry connects on to. I do have a bunch of military stuff. I don't have very much road equipment. A few trucks. Some old AHM oddball cars. You know, they really made a lot of different cars. All of the coal that goes in the hoppers and stuff. The rest of the passenger area. The freight house. This area really never has been detailed at all, as you can obvious. control panel for this end of it. It lights up. I don't think anybody cares. They don't look at the lights. They look to see which way the switch is thrown. So looking down the yard, which is about, must be close to 20 feet long. I decided when I moved into this house that if I couldn't see it, I didn't want to, I was going to get rid of it. So I built a whole bunch of shelves. And they go all the way down the line. I'm not sure why I got into the Lionel business, but I did. I would get rid of it if I could find anybody that would give me half of what I've got into it. Let's see, what else was I going to show us here? Everybody needs a Caterpillar like this, so.
Oh, that's nice. Do you
There's
know
a
who-
new one out. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you know who manufactured that?
That's the one question you probably should never ask me is who did it?
Might have been done by First Gear. They came out with one a couple years ago.
That's what I was wondering. So, okay.
Here's the negative to that. I would have liked to have been able to take the side boom and the weights off so I could have put it on the on a truck or something. You can't do it with this model, but there is a new model out that's a kit, and with that you can.
Oh,
So here's some more stuff. I've got the John Deere's on. I got the grader on, and recently there was some information about tie downs, and I use thread, and I probably won't take these back apart, but the better thing is a number 32 gauge wire, I think.
mm-hmm.
So a few steam engines that I have, which they are a so-so thing. Steam engines are just really hard to keep going, I think. And a crane. I keep the engines up here. These are all engines with DCC ready to go. I like the old vintage cars. There's a vintage GEO. I put things on it every now and then. I'll come down here to the back to the layout.
Oh, a battery factory.
A battery factory. That's I like to keep them handy. And of course, more shelving with more stuff on it. Most of it being parts and pieces.
Well, I should have asked you, Ron, when we were practicing, but I wonder if you can make the hump yard work. You can demonstrate that.
You know, I would like to do that, except that I don't have anybody to hold the camera. Maybe I can do a car manually. Oh my gosh.
Your video stopped.
That was I know that.
Okay,
There, is that better?
there it is. Yeah.
Hey, you're back.
I'm not sure what I touched here, but anyway, I touched something.
Yeah.
All right, be prepared for a little bit of shakiness, which I guess is here all the time, but. I'm sorry about the fact that I'm not as steady as I used to be. Okay. So we got a on top of the hump. You can imagine the locomotive behind it. And we say we want to push that to track number, I'm not sure where it's going to go, but we'll let it go. We'll say we want to take it to track number 1. So down here, where this is, that's track 1, and there's a button here. You push that, all the switches line up, and then you push the car over the hump. Did you see anything?
There it goes. Yeah, it was perfect.
Okay. The engine area, I turn all the engines off when it's not in service, because, you know, why use up all of that power.
Right.
And some more stuff up on the shelf. As you can see, I like to collect die cast.
Mhm.
There's the water plant at Tayman. That is totally scratched out.
That's the water treatment plant, you said?
I had a guy that was going to make a water treatment plant.
Yes.
You know, the water in Iowa needs a little bit of lime and stuff in it because it's a little too acid. I had a guy going to make that cone for the tower out of, never got it to me. So that has got a skeleton of plastic underneath it, just like they built the real one. Somebody asked something, I couldn't hear him.
You're breaking up a little bit there, Ron. Coverage not too good.
Well, you
Ron,
can't
did you
do
say
it.
you
You're
need
having
some
trouble at
live
my end.
coal?
Yeah.
Ron, do
You
you
know-
need some, Ron, do you need some real coal?
How much can I send you? I didn't show you the box of real coal. In other
I
words,
guess
no.
I misunderstood. I thought you needed some.
I keep getting it for Christmas.
No, I don't need any coal. I think I'm going behind the, where the furnace is, probably cutting me off a little bit. So I'll take a picture here and move over. And then I'll be closer to the Wi-Fi.
There you go.
How's that? Is that
Very
better?
good. Yep.
Better.
Now you can see going back the other way.
Yep.
Yeah, toward the, going back to the hump, toward the hump yard.
Yes.
There's the bridge. You see the white on the bridge. That's where I cut that off in order to get some of the, to level it out.
Mm-hmm. Solve the coupling problems.
Yeah, it helped. I think it solved it.
You mean all that white's not all pigeon poop?
No, I'll paint it. It'll get back to its normal color. So I kind of like the circus and the carnival stuff, but I'll get rid of the circus stuff and save the carnival. So this is vining, this area in here. The railroad disappears behind the trees and goes behind the layout underneath. So this is the area that everybody saw when we were rebuilding the abandoned railroad, except it's from the other side.
Yes, we all helped you with comments on redoing the field and the right of way, et cetera. Came out really nice.
I'll tell you, this area right here where my hand is, I think I'm going to redo that and make it a bean field.
Mhm.
I have never been satisfied with this part of it. I moved the sawmill and stuff back underneath the old tree. These are the bridges that go up and down, so I can get in and out without crawling anymore. I mean, you know, I know this is a European type bridge, but frankly, it's an excellent bridge for this service because it is built so much heavier than the other bridge. I'll show you that one. That's a Central Valley Bridge. Because of where it's located, I had to put it up on, of course, they're all on hinges, but I had to put it up on extensions because I didn't have any area right by the end of the layout to put the hinges. I'll put this down. This is the Gladstone area. There's the Gladstone store. If anybody went by it 10 years ago, was still there. Nothing there but a highway today. A Highway 30 bridge. The Otter Creek number 7 school. That's me outside. Here's the other area that we all had fun rebuilding, where the motor car and things like that come out. Of course, it still comes out on top of a switch, but I just don't have any other way to do that. So this is Tayman, and up here on the wall is the real Tayman. And I know this is a little fast, but this is the Milwaukee line coming in. And then down below it is the Northwestern line coming in. So we'll go down here. This is Custer's Implement, which was there, and it was right by Highway 63. The lumber yard was behind it. The unloading platform was not there. Over here on the other side that's Neil's Creamery, except it probably doesn't look a lot like it. That was a very big building they had, and this is pretty small, but that's the best I got at the moment. Over on the other side, I'll slip up here a little bit. If you've been there before, there's Spooner's Grocery. And to the left, that is a picture of the buildings in Belle Plaine. And they work pretty good on the background. So here's Beales Elevator, the Northwestern Beales Elevator. This is the Walthers, is it Waukesha Depot, only I changed it into the Northwestern Depot. And in its early years, the stockyard was right across from the depot, and they moved at about 1900. And
That's a great first impression of the town, right?
Yeah. There's the Clifton Hotel. And that elevator is the Beales elevator on the Milwaukee. So he could use either elevator, whichever gave him the best results, the best for the money. My problem here is that this is actually too far. You can see I could just barely reach behind these buildings. I would never build anything that wide again. Mistake. So here's the junction between the two railroads.
How
These cars
wide, how wide is it there, Ron?
It's a good 3 foot.
Okay.
I would say that if you go past 24 inches, you're getting in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
So anyway, coming around, there's the tower, which is, that's a tower that was in Belle Plaine. They had two towers, one small tower, one big tower. And they are, the tower in Tayman was just like this, except it was twice as big. Got to have Cherry Lake if you're in Tayman. The Iowa River going across. Of course, the bridges are all wrong. But maybe the Milwaukee Bridge is the closest on the back, right on the background. All of the signals, they're working semaphore signals, and they are attached to the turnout so that you know that you're not going against the, there's the apple orchard. Now, the problem with Marshalltown is I got the downtown Marshalltown and the east side Marshalltown, and there never was two parts of Marshalltown. But when I built this, it wasn't Marshalltown. So coming over here, here's another place that we did some work on, the house over there.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Some of you may recognize that.
Mhm.
And a little bit of town there. The whole wall is considered Marshalltown. Okay, so now we're looking way up toward the, again, we're looking toward the hump yard area. A little bit of stuff on the wall. And then you get into a lot of stuff on the wall. I really don't have very many earth moving things. And there's a few more up on the top. So coming down into here, the Y down here is how you get in and out of what I call the Cedar Rapids industrial area, which was controlled completely by the Milwaukee. Here's that greenhouse that I haven't redone anything with, but there was some suggestions about the greenhouse that nothing been done yet. This area on this side of the industrial area is for people I used to know that have passed away. The little boxcar there with the sign on it, that's Jens's railroad salvage. Even the gas station is a good friend of mine who's gone, unfortunately. Coming around here to this building, the sign is gone. It fell off, but that's Rue's glue. Now, Bob Rue was a good friend, but Bob liked to glue things. So this is Bob's glue factory. And you know, if a little bit is good, a lot's better. Berger Oil. There's my cousin Olson's slaughterhouse. Now, you know, a slaughterhouse that size, they would never ship anything by rail. But anyway, that's more for the fuel oil coming in. There's a small yard here. My friend in Oklahoma, which I've known forever, he said, you know what? I've tore down the layout. I want you to have something. So that's what I got. he did a pretty good job on it. It's all scratch built. Probably built in 1950. That old. Here's the power plant that has never been quite completed. I'll slip around here, and there's the Pinnacle Ford plant. To the left, of course, is the grain elevator, and the middle is the starch and sweetener. To the right is the heavy machinery plant. I don't know what the name of it was in Cedar Rapids, but they made rock crushers. So my friend Baker gave me this one time, and somebody says, "Now wait a minute here. You've got Sinclair pumps and Amoco on the sign." You know, so I decided that maybe I better put a ladder up there with the Sinclair sign ready to be put up.
Nice, nice, yeah.
I think Jim is the one who told me about this tank here. So it's just a little bit too large for just a gas station, right, Jim? Maybe Jim disappeared.
No, he's nodding yes.
Jim's
Okay.
here, and I think probably yes. I also believe it's pretty dangerously located, so close to the buildings, you know. But anyway,
You know, that's probably one of these scenes that someday I'll put up, and we'll say, what's wrong with it? You know, I do
Yeah.
that every now and then.
they
And
you move that tank way over to the right, get it away from the buildings, because if there's ever an explosion or fire, those buildings are gone.
About a welder.
Yeah.
I was thinking seriously of a smaller tank.
Yeah.
Some cows in the pasture.
Mhm.
Took me a long time to get the fence out here on the front side. Everybody said, look out, those cows are going to walk right off the edge here.
That's what the slaughterhouse is for, right?
That's strictly Swift's hog slaughter.
Oh.
So, you know, I kind of like, you know, it's my railroad, right? So this is an M and St. L ice house. Turns out as soon as I got this thing built, wouldn't you know, the Walthers would come along with one almost identical,
Mhm.
but this one's scratch built. And turning around, there is the hog unloading area. It'll take 3 cars. The Swift plant is on the back of the control panel. I'll see if I can get that around here so you can see a little bit of it. You can see any of that?
Oh, yeah.
The gondolas are for offal. And Doug, you're the guy who got me started on the Hog Hotel.
You did a nice job. Yeah.
So I got that built. And here's the other part of Marshalltown. But it really ought to be together, but you know, I guess you can go back to it's my layout, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a little more of the town. And there's a pickle works.
They had one there.
Yeah. And a coal company.
Mm-hmm.
So the tank at the coal company happened this way. I made a mistake on my way bill one day, and we delivered a tank car there. So then the one guy made a lot of fun of that. And I said, oh, I'll take care of that. He's going into the heating oil business too. So I put the tank in there.
Sure. Yep. Many of them did that as consumers looking for change.
Here's the vining area that you guys looked at not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be a train in front of it. Milwaukee did go through vining. Vining did not look anything like that, but anyway,
And we should point out that's an M and St. L depot sitting there.
yes, that's an M and St. L depot. We should point that out. I did put Vining on I took the sign down. Yes, I did. I wanted to check I wanted to be sure I was telling you right. But back when I was involved with the Northwestern's modeling things, we commissioned that depot at that time. It's a nice little depot.
Mhm.
That company, that's the only thing he ever built for the Northwestern Society. And then he went on to build things for the southern area of the country. I'll point out that water tower on there. Of the little town west of it.
Say that again,
I
Rob.
really-
We missed that about the water tower.
Okay, let me go back this way. Maybe can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. The water tower is on the Milwaukee. It's still there. They use that for their water in that little village that's west of Centerville, Iowa. And Doug probably could tell me the first town west. I can't think of it now.
Oh,
Mystic?
that sounds about
Is it
right.
Mystic?
Yeah,
I think
Mystic,
it's
is
Mystic.
a little coal town. Yep.
Yeah. I really missed a bet here. Notice that I did not, we have a couple of loading doors on this thing on the background. Why didn't I put an old piece of track in there, abandoned? After I got it done, I said, wow, that's really a mistake. But I guess I'll not change it.
You could just go ahead and glue some ties in like the track has been pulled up. Just leave some old ties and a little dirt.
Yeah, I probably could.
Yeah.
I probably could. This is a typical map of the town.
Mhm.
Some trucks that I've made. Some of you have seen them.
Mhm.
Some of you haven't, maybe. I kind of like to build trucks. Some more of I have a lantern from every one of the major railroads through Iowa.
Wow.
When I started, like the Milwaukee, the Northwest, the IC, the Burlington. The only one I may not have, I don't have one from the Santa Fe in the corner. Anyway,
What's the story about the Coke bottle? Did the Coke bottle come from?
Well-
one?
no. But you remember back when Coke bottles used to have the name of the town they were bottled in?
Ah, yeah.
Somebody surely remembers that. Just a minute. I'll tell you, this one doesn't happen to be one.
Is that from Atlantic, Iowa?
No, how about Decorah?
Oh,
It's
wow.
on the bottom. It's on the bottom.
Look at that.
I'd like to have had one from Cedar Rapids or Marshalltown, but I never found. Here's that little thrash machine I built.
Mhm.
I want to tell you, that's a beautiful little machine, but really hard to build.
Is that what that resin kit that you did?
Yeah, it's 3D printing.
3D, yeah, okay.
See the little butter needles? These are lanterns that go on miners' caps. My wife's father was a miner in Centerville. Her whole family came from that area.
Carbide
An
light?
airplane? Yeah, they're carbide light. I've lit that back when you could buy carbide. It's really difficult to buy carbide anymore. Here's a Lincoln pin, the link. That was found at, down at Long Point, Iowa, which is right by Tayman.
Mhm.
And that insulator up there is labeled for the Canadian National Railroad. I found that, and the guy, he wanted $5 for it. I says, that's okay. I said, you know, you may have something a little more unusual than you think. The next time I seen him, he had them for $10. Anyway. Okay, is there anything anybody else wants to see, or have I covered everything today?
It worked out pretty well, I think.
I don't know how jittery it was. I would have liked to. I guess I can watch the YouTube and see how jittery it is.
Mhm.
You see these things for the floor? I'll tell you, that makes operation a lot easier. I pick them up though because they hold moisture.
Yep.
And I don't want mold. So
Yeah. I've gone to those, and when I was packing up to move, I noticed I had salt stains and stuff from the moisture underneath them. So,
yeah, just a little idea with a power for this thing. There are 3 transformers there. There's another big one on the floor. That one on the floor is for a slot car. It produces a lot of energy. The batteries are for the street lights. I guess at that time I will turn this camera off. And
There
now
we
you
go.
see me.
Yeah.
nice job, Ron. That was fun.
Yeah, very nice, Ron.
Yeah, thanks, Ron.
Yep.
Oh.
I've been there a couple times, but it's still fun to see what you've been doing and the new scenes that we've helped you with.
Yes. Well, one of these days in the future, I'll pop up another one that we can work on together. I find it kind of fun. And you also, you pick up some ideas that you don't think about.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I never noticed those records above your head there. What are those records that you recorded with your band?
Behind you.
Behind your chair where you're sitting.
Well, I don't have very good memory of things, and whenever we would be driving along the road with friends of ours, and a song would come on, and somebody said, "What's the name of that? What's the name of that?" I said, "Oh, that's just Under the Double Eagle." And that became such a joke that the guy bought me the record of Under the Double Eagle.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Of course, my wife has to go and frame it. I couldn't operate any kind of musical instrument, I can tell you that.
Right. Well, that worked out well, I thought. You know, it was nice to see the whole room instead of just getting the pictures of the layout. I mean, both things work, but this was an interesting experiment. I thought it worked out well. So,
Thank you.
I'll be interested to see what it looks like on YouTube and how shaky it is. I'm a little concerned about that. It's hard to hold a camera.
no, you did pretty well.
Yeah.
Okay, everybody. Well, we'll see what's up next week.
That's
Okay.
I have a quick question while I have all these Iowa people here.
Yes.
Sure.
I've been making corn for Dick Berry's layout from Walters, and I've been spray painting it. I want some opinions if this looks like, well, I don't think we're gonna be able to see it. Let me see if I can.
What time of year are you trying to get, John?
Late September.
Late, so yeah, where it's starting to dry out and get brown at the bottom. Yep.
Yeah,
tassels are brown, the bottom leaves are brown, and the rest is kind of a dull green.
Yeah,
Let me
Okay.
go back into the train room a second and I'll show you what I got. I did. I'll reverse this camera.
Well, this is basically, the green is half Burlington Northern and half white with a little bit of yellow, and the brown is mud and sand mixed together.
I'd
I
say
think
you're
you got
right
your
on.
colors right.
yeah.
Well, good. Thank you.
See, the problem at my end, what I see on the iPad looks a lot different than what you see, I think. See, I added a little bit more, leaves to this.
Yeah, what'd you add to the top? A little yellow?
No? Yeah, well, yes, I did. Yeah, that's,
The tassels.
yeah, the tassels.
Mhm.
We had a grass plant in the backyard, and I cut the seed off of it, and I just glued it on with white glue. It wasn't that much hard to do, and then I painted it.
Mhm.
Well, I've got 14 feet of this done, and I'll give it back to Mr. Barry if he wants to glue seed to the top. That's up to him.
This is the same kind of grass that you're talking about, or the corn you're talking about right here. See, I didn't do anything with that. It doesn't even have tassels on it.
Well, you painted it green though.
I did. And then one more thing of green. I'll show you a little more. If the camera works, I'll show you another bit of corn.
While you're on your way over there, what time of the summer or whatever do they tassel out with the yellow on the top?
Well,
They start tasseling in July. Maybe the end of June if they
or
get
August.
season.
See, this is the, I don't know, can you see that one?
Yeah, that's nice.
That's your
Oh,
harvest season.
Let me show you one other thing. Gene Green made this for me. I think it's pretty neat. Beales Elevator, July 1959. And that is the month that I claim.
Ah, yeah, that's nice.
I was 1 year old, Ron.
I graduated from high school.
Yeah. Yeah, I was not too long behind you.
So
I lived in Iowa about 1 year after that. And I've never lived back there since.
Except when you're in the basement.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, guys.
Thank you, Ron.
Yep.
All right.
Thanks, Ron. Good job.
Thanks,
See everybody
Ron.
next.
Yeah, very nice, Ron.
Thank you, Ron.
Bye now.
See all you guys.
You
all
guys.
right. Goodbye.